Well, sometimes shit just happens. All right, so what I was thinking, which may or may not, I mean, I guess it could work. I was thinking of maybe utilizing the stock, let me move this out the way. They're utilizing the stock exhaust manifold, but I need to find out if this is, I'm pretty sure this is stainless. Because if that's the case, I may be able to just cut these and then down here cut them like at an angle and then weld up all of these pieces together and then creating a turbo flange. But honestly, that may be more work than just creating them all from the beginning. Let's use the ZX14 turbo manifold for example. This is typically what a turbo manifold looks like. You know, you got your, just like how you would any exhaust, and then they just kind of swoop in together, and then you got a flange. And this flange here, this basically was where the turbo would get mounted on. So the exhaust come out of here, goes into the turbo to spool it up. So just doing a comparison, it's about how low it would go, but it also depends on the turbo size. Because, you know, obviously a bigger turbo is gonna, you know, take up more room. So I may try to figure out a turbo size that'll probably be the best for spool time and performance on this motor. And another thing is, like when you build an airbox, like I wouldn't be able to build the airbox as big as this box because this is pretty big and I will need somewhere for the piping to go. Well, unlike other bikes, you know, they usually come with an inlet where air comes through on the side, you know, and on this bike it don't. The air comes through directly, and then you probably can't see that due to the lighting, but that right there is the frame, if you can see it. And air just comes straight in through that frame, and then on the other side of that frame, it comes through here, and then the air gets into the airbox. Well, with a turbo bike, you got to have an inlet, or you got to have the cold side piping running somewhere. And right now, I wouldn't be able to run it anywhere. There's no way to run it unless I did something down in the middle here, because if you take this off, it's like a big open area. And if I make the box smaller, then I should, in theory, be able to make a piping go straight down through here. And then somewhere over in here. So I might have to end up cutting the radiator some to allow some room. I don't know how this is going to work. This is going to be a big project, that's for sure, but it's going to be a fun project, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to be learned along the way. But let me give you an example. Look on the ZX14. It has an opening on the side. So on this particular bike, you just put your cold piping on here, and there's plenty of room to make it. But on this bike, it's a lot smaller, more compact, so it's not as much room to play with. But yeah, let's get started. All right, so I got the full M4 exhaust off, and now we got some more perspective. It's a little dark, but put a little light under there. Somebody's doing a burnout. Those guys do burnouts at those shops over there all the time. But we got the exhaust off, and then now we can kind of get more of a perspective of where the turbo can sit. And luckily I have a turbo right here. This is a really big turbo, and this is not necessarily designed for something this small of a motor. This is, like I said, this is a pretty big turbo, but we're gonna need, I'm gonna go with a smaller one just so it'll be more user friendly. This thing is pretty heavy, but all right, so I got the radiator out, got all the fluid out, got all the exhaust off. Most of all of the wiring is unhooked, so it's just a few bolts, like this bolt, you know, the main engine bolts. I'm just waiting to get everything loosened, and then once I get all those, everything for sure is taken loose, I'm gonna put the jack under it and just slowly lower it down and just make sure that nothing is still connected. This is my first time, actually no, this is my second time dropping a bike. I was moving it to make room to start working on the R6 and tried to lay it down with the kickstand, and I didn't have the kickstand down, so, and I'm in here by myself. Let's see if I can manage to get this bike back up. All right, so here's the tricky part. So we know that the stock intake manifold fits in here and under the gas tank, right? So with that, we at least have some type of foundation to start with, because we know the height of this and the width of everything fits within this frame. Now, the fact that I don't necessarily need a box this big, and I'm not going to be able to technically use a box this big, just due to the fact that, like I say, it's a clearance issue. It's just not much space to put a turbo kit on a bike. It's just not. So as you can see, like right here, this goes all the way down to the throttle bodies. On Yamaha R6s, they don't have secondaries, but they do have variable velocity stacks, which can change in the tune. And as you can see, basically what variable stacks is, most stacks you see on bikes, they're stationary. With the R6s and the R1s, in the tune, you can change, like, you know, where you want it to go, how high, low, blah, 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 all that good stuff. And another thing too is, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to get rid of all of this stuff anyway. I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying, but I don't see how this turbo will work efficient with this, especially with all the pressure coming in. And then you'll have to build all this inside of the other airbox and all the other stuff. It just would be too much trouble. So the main thing we need to get is, when this is sitting down on the top of the throttle bodies, like that, like just this section right here is kind of what I want to deal with. So if you could paint a picture, just picture this. Let's put the box back on. So picture about half the size of this box. So from here to probably about here, it's completely gone. We're gonna make a kind of like an oval type box, and then I'm gonna have like a tube, you know, probably like a 90-degree elbow or something that goes down where this other half would be at, and then it'll come down through that hole right there, as you can see, and then that hole we can create the pipe until it comes down to wherever, you know, the turbo is going to be sitting at. And that's my plan of attack, and I think that's going to be the best bet. But once I get some mock-up piping and stuff, then I can I'll have a real better idea then on the intake. All right, basically kind of give you guys a better idea. Let's just say that this is the bike. So this right here would be like the front of the frame. That's just the side of the frame, and then the airbox sits in here, right? Yeah, a little airbox in there. So basically the airbox I want to make, let's just pretend that this is the regular airbox, right? It covers the whole area. So basically what I want to do is create like a And my pen not working. Hold on, let me get another pen. All right, so basically what I want to do is create an intake that's kind of like, all right, there we go. It's basically gonna look like this, like literally. It's gonna be kind of like a little square, so it's gonna be about half the size of the stock intake, and then there's gonna be just like a little piping in the front. That's kind of gonna go down at whatever angle we need to, but the basis of the intake is just gonna be just a rectangular slash oval looking concept. And I'm gonna have to find a way to put the, like how I'm gonna set up the secondary fuel rail on the inside in the middle part, and you know, any other like adapters or anything that may need to get put on there. I'm sure I may need, I know I'm gonna need a bigger fuel pump. I don't know about the injectors, if I'm gonna have to upgrade them or not, since I am gonna be on E85. But I know that's a horrible concept, but you know, basically what I'm trying to get you to see is that the regular box is about twice the size of this, and I'm just going to go about halfway and put an elbow on there that's going to go towards the front. So this right here is aiming directly towards the front of the bike. So if that was the bike, that'll be the intake that's going forward. So based off of this, like I said, we know the stock intake fits under the thing. So if we go from we're looking at roughly about 15 inches across. And I'm just gonna write that down in my notes. And like I said, that's just rough estimate. That's not exact. I'm just trying to get a ballpark. Right around 14.5 to 15 inches. All right, now what I want to do is figure out how deep it goes in and how, you know, how the height to the bottom, see how far we got. And these right here kind of sit right on top of it, so I just allow for like a little extra, but like I said, this is just rough. I'm just getting a rough estimate. So that's about right there. Let's do 9. Lock it in at 9. So the box at its tallest point from the bottom to the top looks about 9 inches, but as you can see on here, it kind of, it's down and then it slants and comes up. So realistically right here, it's only about 3.5 inches tall, but the throttle body is going to sit here, and the main point of the intake needs to be where the throttle body sits at. So turn this way, we got about 8 to 9 inches of height clearance that I can work with. And like I say, I just need it to be just this part, this section right here. And the front half of this part is just gonna be the elbow going down. So we're looking about, like I say, 9 inches tall, roughly. That's very rough. And about 14.5 to 15 inches, which is also a very rough estimate. Because the way it's shaped, I can't put I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So it's not like 100%, but once I get closer, I do more precise measurements. But now I know, like now, at least the type of, let me measure like the other direction, see how far it comes. 11 inches the other way. All right, so check this out. This right here, this is a 2.5 inch cold side piping for my turbo cobra. So what I'm gonna do is try to see if at least this can fit through there, because if it can, then I know I have at least 2.5 inches of clearance. So apologize if it's a little noise in the background, because my the people behind me are they're really getting it done back there. So they got a big project going on back there today. So this is 2.5-inch pipe, and you can see like there's that hole I was talking about up through there. If you can see it, you can barely see because it's kind of dark, but it's a hole in there. And if this right here can fit, which it is, then that lets me know that I have at least 2.5-inch, you know, pipe diameter clearance. I don't think I'm gonna need that big with the turbo being so small. Honestly, probably like an inch and a half maybe. I don't know, because the turbo I'm gonna get is gonna be a T15 or a GT15 or whatever. And those are some really small turbos, but we're dealing with a really small motor. And you know, when it comes to turbos, you do want to make sure you properly size them, just so you can make sure that the spool time is right. And you want to make sure it's big enough to make sure that it makes enough steam to reach the power goals you're trying to get. But like I say, that's pretty much it. I know this video wasn't that exciting, but I just want to show everybody every step of the way going forward, even with my ugly drawings and my rough estimates and stuff like that. So turbo's going to be on the way. I gotta get some piping ordered in. I gotta get my welding machine and some other stuff. And yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. I'm gonna use it. This is gonna be my 2021, you know, Mexico bike, and I'm gonna take it to a few mile events hopefully. So I'm gonna have to make some changes, like, you know, safety things to pass inspection, so I'll be able to race at the mile event. But yeah, man, this is gonna be dope. I really look forward to this. And my other R6 I am currently giving away, so if any of y'all want to get a chance to win that, it's just $50 a ticket. I'm gonna do a live drawing. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys carry on about your day. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Thanks for all the support, all the comments, everything, because I know I haven't been posting a lot lately, but I do appreciate everybody who's still rocking with me. So y'all have a good day.